Hello everyone and welcome to the library sale book haul that I've talked about for my December haul. So I have almost 50 books, so I will be splitting this up into two books so that this video, or two videos, so that these don't get overly long for one video. So these are all books that I got from my local library for their book sale. So these are all, it's still December haul because I did get all of these in December, but I'm doing these specifically as I got them from my library. So most of them are paperback. This particular video will have 5 hardback books. That's all the hardback books I got from my library. So let's go ahead and just delve right on in. And I think these were 20 or 25 cents a book. So, and then I think the paperbacks were like 10 cents a book. So yeah, pretty good prices. And I did check to make sure before I even purchased these, when I was pulling them off the shelves to look at them, I made sure that these were either the first book in the series or a standalone. So these are all standalones or all first books in a series. There is one exception that is the second book in a series, but I actually also got the first book in the series as well. So books 1 and 2 in that series were at the library sale. Okay, first up I have Two Girls Down by Louisa Luna. Let's see. It's a mother's worst nightmare. Jamie Brandt's 2 young daughters, Kylie and Bailey, disappear without a trace from a strip mall parking lot in their hometown of Denville, Pennsylvania. The devastated family hires Alice Vega, a former bounty hunter whose intellect is matched only by her relentless determination to get results. Immediately shut out by a contentious police department stretched thin by budget cuts and the growing Oxycontin and meth epidemics, Vega partners with a former cop, Max Kaplan, to help her navigate the local scene. She will go to any length to follow the slippery trail of the missing girls no matter where it leads and to bring them home before they are lost forever. Louisa, and then it talks about how the author is a masterful storyteller. So, Two Girls Down. Okay, this next one, I just had to look up how to say a word in this title. This is the, picking up this book was the first time I've ever seen this word, but it is the Widening Gyre. Gyre, according to Google. Gyre, The Widening Gyre by Michael R. Johnston. And this has a sci-fi sticker on it. 800 years ago, the Zen Empire discovered a broken human colony ship drifting in the fringes of their space. With only a third of the original colonists left alive in their cryopods and the ship's computers damaged beyond repair, there was no way to know where the humans were from. The Zen gave them a place to live and folded them into their empire as a client state. Humans are safe, but it hasn't been easy. Not all Zen were eager to welcome another species into their empire, and humans have faced persecution. One of the first humans to be allowed to serve in the Zen military, Taejin Hunt, became a war hero at the Battle of Elkari, the only human to be named an official hero of the empire. He was given command of a task force, but when he failed in a crucial mission, causing the deaths of millions of people, he resigned in disgrace and faded into life on the fringes of a lone independent pilot. When Taejin discovers his brother Dave has been killed by agents of the Empire, he, his niece, and their newly hired crew set out to finish his brother's quest to find Earth, the legendary home world of humanity. I'm going to see if I can take off this reflective cover. I'm going to see if I can take this off so that it's just the original dust jacket, but we'll see. This Town Sleeps by Dennis E. Staples. Right, yes, okay. Right? Staples, I'm guessing. So yeah, This Town Sleeps. This one has a sticker on it that this is a mystery. On an All right, this is on a reservation. Let me type this name in and see if it'll give me a pronunciation. O-J-I-B-W-E. Oh, am I frozen? There we go. The most populous tribe in North America. They live in both the United States and Canada and occupy land around the entire Great Lakes, including Minnesota, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Ontario. All right, pronunciation. Here we go. Ojibwe. Okay. On an Ojibwe reservation called Languille Lake within the small town of Geshig at the hub of the res, two men enter into a secret romance. Marion Lafreniere, a mid-20s gay Ojibwe man, begins a relationship with his former classmate, Shannon, a briefly cloistered white man. Closeted, briefly, a heavily closeted white man. I totally read that sentence wrong. Shannon, a heavily closeted white man. While Marion is far more open about his sexuality, neither is immune to the realities of the lives of gay men in small towns and closed societies. When one night, while roaming the dark streets of Geshig, Marion unknowingly brings to life the spirit of a dog from beneath the elementary school playground. The mysterious revenant leads him to the grave of Cain Kelleher, an Ojibwe basketball star who was murdered at the age of 17 and whose presence still lingers in the memories of the townsfolk. While investigating the fallen hero's death, Marion discovers family connections and an old Ojibwe. Lost my place. Okay. Connections and an old Ojibwe legend that may be the secret to unraveling the mystery he has found himself in. So, LGBT, Indigenous, it sounds good. So yeah. This next one I have read from this author before. I only read one book from this author, and I liked the writing, and he does legal thrillers. But I'm talking about the author of John Grisham. This particular book is The Boys from Biloxi. For most of the last 100 years, Biloxi was known for its beaches, resorts, and seafood industry. But it had a darker side. It was also notorious for corruption and vice, everything from gambling, prostitution, bootleg liquor, and drugs to contract killings. The vice was controlled by a small cabal of mobsters, many of them rumored to be members of the Dixie Mafia. Keith Rudy and Hugh Malco grew up in Biloxi in the 60s and were childhood friends as well as Little League All-Stars, but as teenagers their lives took them in different directions. Keith's father became a legendary prosecutor determined to clean up the coast. Hugh's father became the boss of the Biloxi's criminal underground. Keith went to law school and followed in his father's footsteps. Hugh preferred the nightlife and worked in his father's clubs. The two families were headed for a showdown, one that would ultimately happen in a courtroom. And that's all that says. Next up, the last hardback that I got from the library book sale is Divine Evil by Nora Roberts. This one does not have a plastic. This one doesn't have a library sticker on it. I think this one, it looks like was one that someone probably dropped off and discarded in the library, like Dropbox probably. Or, well, they do have a stamp in here saying surplus, so, but it was never on the shelf, so, like, this is a brand new book. Because there's no writing, nothing in it saying that it was previously owned. So this is like a this is brand new, pretty much. 1992, so surplus, but yeah, so Divine Evil by Nora Roberts. Let's see. Emmitsboro, Maryland seems like the picture of rustic perfection, a peaceful enclave where nothing bad could ever happen. but the town hides a dark secret, known only to a few. A secret one woman has been running from all her life. A decade ago, sculptor Claire Kimball fled Emmitsboro to take the Manhattan art world by storm. She's been celebrated as the up-and-coming artist of her generation, but for Claire, no amount of exposure to the spotlight can eclipse the nightmares that haunt her, and the painful memories of her father's suicide. Just as her star is shining brighter than ever, Claire leaves it all behind to go home and lay her dreams to rest. Emmitsboro Sheriff Cameron Rafferty never forgot Claire, the girl he'd loved from afar while they were both still in high school. Now that Claire has returned, what seemed impossible before seems all too tantalizingly close. And as Claire settles in, they form a bond that grows stronger by the day, fueled by a white-hot attraction that's been burning for 10 long years. But the past Claire has come to lay to rest has risen up with a vengeance, rocking the town in the form of a brutal murder. As the investigation gets underway, it's clear the death is linked to something very sinister, something plainly connected with Claire's return. As the sheriff, Cameron is charged with solving the case. As a man, he'll stop at nothing to protect Claire, even as she sets out on her own investigation. Together, they'll learn that true evil can linger anywhere, even in a town like Emmitsboro, even in those you love and trust the most. But it's a discovery that may come too late to save either of them. I've picked up a couple of her books before, but I haven't read anything, so I'm intrigued to see if I will like Nora Roberts' writing. All right, now we're on to the paperback books. So this one is Into the Moors by Nina Milton. It says this is a shaman mystery. Sinister visions. Shamanic counselor Sabby Dare doesn't believe her troubled client, Cliff Houghton, not quite sure, is capable of evil, but Cliff has become the prime suspect in the murder of a young boy after the police catch him lurking in the moors where the body was found. Continuing the therapy they'd begun together, Sabby recovers disturbing childhood memories from Cliff's subconscious, shedding light on a spat of crimes that terrorized the English countryside 20 years earlier. And when a second child goes missing, Sabby must piece together the fragments of the buried past before another innocent victim is robbed of his life. So where it says English countryside, I'm guessing that this takes place in the UK somewhere. Next, I have Lifethreat by B.J. Meehan? Not quite sure how to say that one. When men across the country suddenly become sterile, it will be up to the Federal Office of Health and Disease Project Manager Al Jackson to figure out why. Al is first alerted to the strange trend when a drop in pregnancies is noticed in Fall River, Massachusetts. The mystery deepens as the concerns spread, leading to both conspiracy theories and religious fanatics suggesting that God is punishing humans for having abortions. Could the world possibly end with no one left to repopulate? The pressure mounts as Al tries to outflank the mysterious forces trying to undermine his search for answers. Who could be behind such a plot, and what would be their motives? One thing is certain, if he is to find the answers he seeks, he's going to need help. So, Lifethreat. Next I have, I think this one's a literary fiction, this next one. Hunting Houses by Fanny Britt. At least I'm guessing it's a literary, but yeah. Let's see. Tessa is a 37-year-old real estate agent living in Montreal. So this takes place in Canada. Or at least she's from Canada. We'll see. She adores her husband and 3 young sons, but she's deeply unhappy and questioning the set of choices that have led to her present life. After a surprising run-in with Francis, her ex-boyfriend and first love, Tessa arranges to see him. During the 3 days before their meeting, she goes about her daily life. Swimming lessons, science projects, and dirty dishes. As the day of her meeting with Francis draws closer, she has to decide if she's willing to disrupt her stable, loving family life for an uncertain future with him. That's all it says. So it takes place in Canada. Next, I have How I Came to Sparkle Again by Kea McLaren. This looks like it's a wintry book. Jill Anthony spent her youth in the ski town of Sparkle, Colorado, and more than a decade has passed since she left. When a devastating tragedy coupled with the worst kind of betrayal makes her want to do nothing but run away, the only place she knows to go is home, Sparkle. Lisa Carlucci looks in the mirror one morning and realizes that she no longer wants to treat her body like a Holiday Inn. She's going to hold out for love. The only problem is, love might come in the form of her ski bum best friend, who lives next door with his ski bum friends in a trailer known as the Kennel. Cassie Jones, at age 10, has lost her mother and no longer believes in anything. Her only solace comes from the messages she believes her deceased mother is sending her through the heart-shaped rocks they once collected in the streams and hills of Sparkle. 3 people at the crossroads of heartbreak and healing. 3 lives that will be changed one winter in Sparkle, Colorado. One tender, funny, tear-jerking novel you won't soon forget. Definitely sounds like it'll be a heartstring puller. Okay, this next one is called What the Cat Saw. This is a mystery, and it is written by Carolyn Hart. Since her fiancé's death, Nella Farley has been plagued by a 6th sense. She understands the thoughts of cats. In desperate need of a distraction, Nella agrees to substitute for her sister Chloe at her job for a charitable foundation. Chloe has even arranged a place for her sister to stay. But when Nella encounters the previous tenant's cat, she gets a flash of thought. Dead and gone. She loved me. Skateboard on the step. Nella wants to ignore what the cat saw, but the idea that the death of former tenant Marion Grant wasn't an accident is something she can't ignore. And when a detective becomes suspicious of Nella's sister and a second murder occurs, Nella realizes she'll have to make the most of her unwanted ability before she meets her own untimely end. So, this sounds like it'll be a kind of, not a cozy mystery, but a sweet mystery, possibly. I don't know. This next up is definitely a cozy mystery, and that is A Skeleton in the Family by Leigh Perry. It says it's the first in a new series. Make No Bones About It, I'm guessing, is the name of the series. Not quite sure. But anyway, there is the cover. And then, of course, the library sticker is covering a part of the synopsis. So let's see if I can get what I can get from it. Moving back to her, I don't know. Someone's moving back. Something about a daughter. All right, you know what? Let's look this up on Goodreads. So the series is Family Skeleton Mystery, again by Leigh Perry. And the synopsis is a little different than what's printed on the back. Quite a bit different. But it doesn't matter. It's still the same book. Okay. Most families have skeletons in their closets. Moving back into her parents' house with her teenage daughter had not been Georgia Thackeray's plan A. But when she got a job at the local college, it seemed the sensible thing to do. No, it is the same synopsis. Okay. Let's see. So she settled in and began reconnecting with old friends, including Sid. Sid is the Thackeray family's skeleton. He's lived in the house as long as Georgia can remember, although no one, including Sid, knows exactly where he came from and how he came to be a skeleton. Sid walks, he talks, he makes bad jokes. He tries to keep Georgia's dog from considering him a snack. So I take it, this skeleton here, that is Sid. Okay. Let's see. He manages to persuade Georgia to let him leave the house. But when she takes him to an anime convention disguised as a skeleton, of course, he sees a woman who triggers memories of his past. Now he is determined to find out how he died, with Georgia's help. But their investigation may uncover a killer who's still alive and well and bad to the bone. Okay, next up I have Murder and Marinara. Meet One Saucy Sleuth. First in a new series called An Italian Kitchen Mystery by Rosie Genova. So, cozy mystery. And this includes recipes. I like it when they include recipes. Rosie's quick marinara sauce, Tim's basil walnut pesto, and Chef Massimo's frittata with arugula are the 3 recipes included. When Victoria takes a break from penning her popular mystery series and moves back to the Jersey shore, she imagines sun, sand, and scents of fresh basil and simmering marinara sauce at the family restaurant, the Casa Lido. But her Nona's recipes aren't the only things getting stirred up in this Italian kitchen. Their small town is up in arms over plans to film a new reality TV show, and when Victoria serves the show's pushy producer his last meal, the Casa Lido staff finds itself embroiled in a murder investigation. Victoria wants to find the real killer, but there are as many suspects as tomatoes in her Nona's garden. Now she'll have to heat up her sleuthing skills quickly before someone else gets a plateful of murder. Next up, I have On the Corner of Love and Hate by Nina Boci? I'm not quite sure how to say this author's name, but this is tagged as a romance. When Emmanuel Peroni's father, Enrico, the current mayor of Hope Lake, Pennsylvania, suggests she help with Cooper Encott's campaign, she's horrified. Cooper, one of her former oldest friends, drives her crazy in every way possible. But he's also her father's protege, so Emma reluctantly launches her plan to help him win the local election. It's not as easy as it looks. Cooper's colorful love life is the sticking point for many voters, and his opponent is digging up everything he can from Cooper's past. It seems that every time Emma puts out the flames from the scandal, another one flares up. Emma knows that if Cooper wants to win, he needs to keep his nose clean. The only problem? She might just be falling in love with the one person she promised never to pursue, the mayoral candidate himself. Okay, this next one is another romance, but this one is a Christmas romance, and I can tell that from the title. It is Christmas by the Lighthouse, written by Rebecca Boxall. So, happy-go-lucky journalist Summer has always managed to focus on the silver lining, but nothing in her life has prepared her for her husband Seth's recent revelation. He wants a 6-month break from their marriage. Determined to stay positive, Summer decamps to Jersey to spend another Jersey book, to Jersey to spend 6 months by the sea, where every passing week makes Seth more of a distant memory. Then she meets sweet, charming Jude, whose life seems to be on permanent hold even before he receives devastating news of his own. To both of them, their chance encounter feels like fate, and with Summer's encouragement, Jude embarks on a bucket list of experiences that seem to bond them for life. When they're together, the world is alive with possibilities, but as Christmas approaches, their time is running out in more ways than one. Will they return to the lives they left behind, or take a chance on an unknown future? And this is one that I do have the second book in a series. Do they follow different characters? Yes. Okay. So I have the first 2 in this series, and this is a romance series. The first one is More or Less a Marchioness, The Somerset Sisters by Anna Bradley. I'm not sure how many are in this series, but this is book number 1. Possibly 3 books, because it says there's 3 beautiful, headstrong debutantes in Regency, London. They're discovering a bit of scandal, and they are discovering that a bit of scandal is a delightful thing. For the sake of propriety? No. I don't know. For the sake of propriety, I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Anyway, and her younger sister's reputations, Iris Somerset has kept her rebellious streak locked away. But though she receives a proposal from Phineas Knight, Lord of Huntington, Iris can't marry a man she knows isn't truly enamored with her. In fact, Iris no longer wants to be chosen. She wants to choose. Under the clandestine tutelage of Wicked Widow, Lady Anna Bell Tallant, she'll learn how to steer her own marriage prospects and discover her secret appetites. The second book in this series is More or Less a Countess, again by Anna Bradley. Violet Somerset has always preferred a library to a ballroom, but to please her grandmother, she agreed to one London season. With nothing to show for it but heartbreak, she's reconciled to spinsterhood until a notorious rogue known as the Devil of Dare requests an introduction to her timid, gentle younger sister Hyacinth. Violet will do anything to stop the match, even if it means posing as Hyacinth herself. Nicholas Balfour, the Earl of Dare, is enjoying the life of a rake, far too much to take a wife. But he must keep his promise to his grandmother. He'll simply choose the meekest bride he can find, install her at his estate, then carry on as before. Hyacinth sounds perfect, until he discovers that her sweet demeanor hides the tongue of a viper and the mind of a blue stocking. As Violet's ruse threatens to unravel, however, she may find the tables turned. Soon she may have no choice but to tolerate her handsome fiancé or fall in love with him. What is a blue stocking? I don't know. I'll try and figure that out later. Next up, I have Bloodwalker by L.X. Cain. That is one creepy looking cover. Looks like it involves a circus from that silhouette there. And this is tagged as horror. Let's see. Zorka Circus's big top roars with laughter. Then it moves on. When it moves on, children vanish. Circus security Chief Rurik suspects a killer hides among the performers, but they close ranks. They've always viewed lightning-scarred Rurik as the monster. He must fight the culprit before anyone else disappears and his home is destroyed by the murders. Into Zorka Circus comes the Skomori clan, despised as grave-digging ghouls. A one-day truce allows Bloodwalker Sylvie to marry. Instead, she finds a body. Alerting others will defy her clan's strict code, break the truce, and leave her an outcast. When more bodies turn up, the killer's trail becomes impossible to ignore. Rurik and Sylvie must follow the clues, even if they lead to something unimaginable. Next up, I have part of the True Colors series. It's Historical Stories of American Crime. So this is a historical fictionized version. This one is by Kathleen Yabarbo. I'm sure I said that wrong. But this one's The Black Midnight. There was a sticker on here, but it's blacked out. I don't know. Anyway. 3 years before Jack the Ripper began his murderous spree on the streets of London, women were dying in their beds as the Midnight Assassin terrorized the citizens of Austin, Texas. Now, with suspicion falling on Her Majesty's family and Scotland Yard, at a loss as to who the Ripper might be, Queen Victoria summons her great-granddaughter Alice Ann Von Wenton, a former Pinkerton agent who worked the unsolved Austin case, and orders her to discreetly form a team to look into the London matter. The prospect of a second chance to work with Annie just might entice Isaiah Joplin out of his comfortable life as an Austin lawyer. If his theories are right, they'll find the Midnight Assassin and, by default, the Ripper. If they are wrong, he and Annie are in a bigger mess than the one the feisty female left behind when she departed Austin under cover of darkness 3 years ago. Can the unlikely pair find the truth of who is behind the murders before they are drawn into the killer's deadly game? From Texas to London, the story navigates the fine line between truth and fiction, as Annie and Isaiah ultimately find the hunters have become the hunted. This next one is The Memory of You by Jamie Beck. This does have a romance sticker, and that's the cover. By Jamie Beck, The Memory of You. A Sanctuary Sound novel, so possibly part of a series, but it would be the first in the series if it is. After a brutal assault leaves Steffi with puzzling memory lapses, she returns to her coastal Connecticut hometown to rebuild her life the best way she knows how, with her hands. But starting a remodeling business with one longtime friend puts her in the middle of a rift with another. Worse, being hired by her ex-boyfriend's mother forces her to confront old regrets. Public defender Ryan Quinn wasn't shocked when his wife left him, but he was floored when she abandoned their daughter. With his finances up in the air, the newly single dad returns to his childhood home in Sanctuary Sound. The last person he expects or wants to see on his family house is Steffi. To see working on his family house is Steffi Lockwood, his first love who shattered his heart. Although Steffi and Ryan are different people now, dormant feelings rekindle. But when Ryan's concern for Steffi's mental health prompts him to dig into her past for answers, will what he learned bring them together or tear them apart for good? Okay, next up I have Salvation Station by Catherine Skylich? I know I said that wrong. This is a mystery, and I have to look up the synopsis on Goodreads because this library sticker is covering up the part of the synopsis. Okay, and then I'll get to the point, like I did the other one, where I can pick up reading it from the back. When committed female police captain Linda Turner, haunted by the murders of two small children and their pastor father, becomes obsessed with solving the harrowing case, she finds herself wrapped up in a mission to expose a fraudulent religious organization and an unrepentant killer. Despite her years of experience investigating homicides for the force, Captain Linda Turner is haunted by the murders of the Hanson family. The two small children, clothed in tattered Disney pajamas, were buried with their father, a pastor, in the flower garden behind a church parsonage in Lincoln, Nebraska. But Mrs. Hanson is nowhere to be found, and neither is the killer. In St. Louis, the televangelist Ray Williams is about to lose his show until one of his regular attendees approaches him with an idea that can save it. Despite his initial misgivings, Ray agrees to give it a try. He can't deny his attraction to this woman, and besides, she's assured him the plan is just. God gave her the instructions in a dream. Multiple storylines entwine through this compelling mystery, delving into the topics of murder, religious faith, and the inherent dangers in blindly accepting that faith as truth. While Reverend Williams is swept up in his newfound success and plans for his wedding, Captain Turner can only hope that she and her team will catch the Hansons' cunning killer before more bodies surface. And that, with that doll, is one creepy cover. Okay, this will be the last book in this library book haul, so I will do a part 2 for the other bag full, because this is one bag full of books. I've been keeping track. That's 21 books in this bag, so I'll do the other haul. So it'll come out after this one. So there will be a part 2. And this last book is Slash by Hunter Shea. It says The Wrath is Back. Anyway, that's the cover. And this one's tagged as a horror. 5 years after final girl Ashley King survived the infamous resort massacre, she's found hanging in her basement by her fiancé, Todd. She left behind clues as to what really happened that horrible night. Clues that may reveal the identity of the killer the press has called the Wraith. Wraith or Wrath? Not sure. Anyway. With the help of his friends, Todd goes back to the crumbling Hayden Resort, now a ruin in the Catskill Mountains. The Hayden may have been deserted, but it was never empty of new corpses. Someone or something has been murdering anyone who dares to wander amidst its decayed buildings. What Todd and his friends will find is a killer lying in wait for a fresh set of victims. The Wrath is back, and he's not at all what they expected. Sounds good. So, let me know, have you read any of the books mentioned in this particular library sale book haul? Have you read books from any of these authors, if not the particular books that were shown? Are there any books that listening to the synopsis intrigued you to look into? Let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I'll talk to you later.